Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Angela Brennan and today I'm going to be showing you a new technique which is embossing with dies. To get more value out of your dies, especially your cover dies which are your background dies, I want to show you how I use the dies to create backgrounds. I thought I'm just going to use the cover dies, but towards the end I have got a bonus card, I call it, where I use alphabet dies to do the same technique. This is the garden trellis die. And the main stamp that I'm going to use in the three cards I'm going to do is the Regal Beauty. And for the final card, I use a smaller stamp called the Flower Pop. Now to do the embossing with using your dies, I use my Big Shot sandwich. Now every die cutting machine will have its own sandwich. So most likely your manufacturer's guide will show you. So this sandwich is you turn to the section 1, put a plate, then you put your die facing upwards. The die cutting bit is facing upwards. Then you put where you want your paper you want to cut onto facing on the die. Then you have to put a silicone mat. It's called an impression mat or an embossing mat. If you don't have it, you can try using fun foam. It will give you some results, but not as good as that with this embossing mat. And then finally you put another plate onto it and you put it through your die cutting machine. Now, depending on the thickness of your paper and the sandwich, how good your sandwich is on your various die cutting machines, it'll give you different impressions. I'm using an 80-pound Nina Solar Crest white cardstock here, and look at that impression, it's beautiful. You could even ink blend lightly on it to give beautiful results. In my final card, I show you how I do that, which is I'm not using a cover die. So stick on to the end to see how I use alphabet dies to create an embossed look with your dies as well. So what I do is I use this as the background for all the die cutting that I'm going to do. This Regal Beauty layering stamp, it's got 2 flowers and 2 leaves. It's very easy to layer them up. In fact, I don't even have to refer to the guide, but the guide is there for you if you want to use it. But there are very specific features in the flower that allow you to layer the stamp appropriately. I end up making so many of these flowers that I've got leftovers for future projects. When I show you the first layering, I just do 1 flower, but there is a way you can use your stamping tool to do 4 flowers, 4 multiple flowers at the same time. So it's a time saver, especially when you're going to align the various layers. You may as well stamp a few flowers at the same time, and you can use different color combinations, and then you die cut them all and you can keep them for future projects. I show you in the middle of the video how I stamp multiple flowers at the same time using my stamping tool, thus saving me aligning the layers multiple times. As previously used, I'm using a stamp conditioning eraser for the stamps because quite a few of these layering stamps have got quite a lot of solid areas in the stamp, and it makes such a difference. Quite a few times I only stamp once. There are times that I stamp twice. That's probably because I've forgotten to use my stamp conditioning eraser, but I find it really good. And in trying out these flowers, I almost try all of the inks I have, Altenew inks I have, because they have it in batches of 4. So you've got for your light, slightly darker, then your medium and your darker. So it kind of suits the 4 layers of most of the flowers. The smaller flowers got 3 layers, but this flower's got 4 main layers, and then the centers I use a different color combination. I've got all of the details of the colors I use listed in my blog, so do go to my blog to check out the close-up pictures, details of the colors I use, and the online class that inspired me to do. As you know, I'm doing my Altenew Educator Certification program, so that part of that requires me to, for the first level, to go through 10 online classes and make cards inspired by the techniques that I saw in that particular online class. So this class that I'm doing these cards for is called Easy Die Cutting. Now I've done a lot of die cutting, but one thing I've not tried is use my dies to make embossing impressions. So the first 3 cards I do embossing impressions with background dies, and the final card, which I must say was something I didn't think I was going to do, finished the video, and then that's an add-on. You will see it's an add-on card. I make a card for my niece whose birthday is coming up in July. I'm using alphabet dies to spell her name and create an impression. So stick until the end and check that card out, and I'll catch you later. Hello again. So this is the add-on card, as I call it. I use the alphabet dies to create an impression on the card, just like basically using my dies to emboss the card. And then I use this flower pop stamp set sent to me by Altenew as a thank you for my custom thus far. And they've even got a personal stamp there saying with love, Angela Brennan. So I do stamp that at the back of the card. So this is basically laying the alphabet dies in a row to create any word, name, etc., securing it together with painter's tape. So put it as close as possible, securing it with painter's tape, and then putting it through the die cutting machine, but making sure the sandwich doesn't die cut the card, but embosses on the card. So basically embossing with my dies. Instead of using a background die, I'm using alphabet dies here. So to ensure that the painter's tape doesn't adhere to the card when you put it through the die cutting machine and tear the card when you're trying to remove it, I use some anti-static powder to take away the tackiness of the tape so that when I put it through, it's fine. I firstly die cut on masking sheet. I'll be using the negative as well as the positive elements of it. You'll see what I do. So the positive element, which is the alphabets, I use it as a mask when I stamp the background with the flowers and leaves. And the negative element of it, I put it over the stamped panel and ink blend on the embossed alphabets. I hope you will enjoy this technique and give this a try. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. And do press that notification bell so you'll be alerted when a new video comes on. And do go on to my blog and check it out. The link to the blog is in the description below. I've got more detailed close-up pictures as well as all the products that I use, and also a link to the online classes on the Altenew Academy, and it has a link to the AECP, which is the Altenew Educator Certification Program, if you're interested in getting certified. I decided to do that because it gives me an avenue to try out new techniques like this and learn a little bit more with regards to crafting, as I've already got all the products. Well, take care, and I will catch you at the next video. But do watch the rest of this technique.